Greetings, Lady Love. This is part 2. Part 1 went off on a little bit of a tangent, but so what I've done and what I do primarily, I work with spirit and divine guidance, my guides, guardians, protectors, angels. Beloved God speaks through me. So I write the notes down. I know what I'm trying to say, what I'm focused on. This is also my own experience. But I am very much guided. So if I start to go off on something, it's what needs to come out. I try not to control or edit. These are pretty much raw deal. You're going to get the raw, uncut version of the truth. I don't even have an editor on here. If I do get to a point where I'm upgraded enough to be able to figure out how to edit the YouTube videos and do all that, I did curse a little bit in one of them, so I might have to bleep that out. So I'll let you know ahead of time, because I want to make sure I respect the guidelines and the boundaries of the YouTube community, and I'm grateful for that. I've been having some trouble with Facebook, so I'm giving it a break. I do that periodically. I give breaks to social media, and I do that in life too, because my energy is intense and I have a lot of things going on, and I can get really intense and annoying. So what I found is if I get really intense and annoying and I'm bothering people, and then, okay, I notice that I'm doing that. I'm very self-aware, and I self-regulate, and I self-govern, care for. I've learned enough through all of my battles that I have to be in charge of my reality and govern myself. Otherwise, I open up to other things stepping in. So I notice when I'm out of line, and then I back away and I take a break for a while and give people a chance to notice that I'm gone and miss me. And then it changes the energy. So then when I come back, they're like, instead of like pushing me away and wanting me to go away, they're like, oh, we missed you. We're glad you're here. We're glad, we've been worried about you. We haven't seen you around in a while. So that means something. And then it changes the energy. And then it's like, yeah, okay. So I do that for myself and for them, because sometimes we need a break from things and people. So what I'm trying to do, I'm still trying to figure this out myself. Because these are a lot of what I experience is my own inner wisdom and experience, coupled with the deeper knowing, the conscious knowing of the soul spirit path and what's being sort of guided or channeled through, and then also putting the pieces together to express them in a language. And the physical boundary of the language is sometimes the hardest, because I can see it and feel it and know it, and sometimes it's hard to translate it. But I'm doing the best I can, so bear with me here. So in the first video, I talked about the deprivation therapy and how and being able to transcend our limitations. So when we take something away long enough, then we can actually learn how to live without it, that we don't need it anymore. And then when we bring it back in, it changes the vibration so it's no longer a need. It all raises up in vibration. And then there's more of an appreciation and a gratitude. So similar if you've ever done like a fast or a cleanse. So you give up food and you're just juicing, and then like you take some time to just heal and process. And then when you add the food back in, oh, it tastes so amazing. It tastes so much better. You're enjoying it more. You feel healthier. You feel the cleanse, right? So it's a similar idea of that. And I do that with all different things. I discovered it along my way, and then it makes sense to me and it works for anything. So I do that with food. I do that with sleep, with pain. I mean, some of it's like happens by more intentionally, like I'm intending this to happen, and then other times it's like, oh shoot, I'm in the middle of this cycle, and what do I do? How do I get out of it? Because I'm still trying to break out of the rest of these karmic entanglements, and they're really wanting to hold on to me tight and keep me down. So that's part of why I'm having a lot of trouble and I'm still stuck is because a lot of people have made me the scapegoat in the family, in the community, and whatever. And so they're basically dumping all of their repressed judgments and projections onto me. And thereby, it actually, because we are one consciousness and all connected, it actually keeps me locked in to a lesser timeline where it's harder for me to transcend. So the purpose of life is to grow. So like a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, the same thing with us. We're supposed to be born and we're supposed to grow. So like an infant is going to have a different level of functioning than a 3-year-old, than a 5-year-old, than a 7-year-old, than a 10-year-old, than a 20-year-old. But at a certain point, some people stop growing. So if you stop growing, then you stay stuck and stagnant. And just because you stop growing doesn't mean that everyone else is supposed to stop growing too. We're always supposed to be growing. So I am not the same as I was in my 20s or 30s or even last year, even 6 months ago, even a few months ago. I grow rapidly. I change rapidly. That is my goal, is to always keep growing and expanding and evolving. But not everyone wants to do that because it's not easy to grow and change. And we have to stay humble. We have to stay flexible. We have to stay self-aware. We have to be open and receptive to other people and their concerns. We have to learn how to self-reflect. We have to learn how to look at ourselves and to make those changes. And it's not easy. You know, it's easier when you're smaller to see the difference between an infant and a 3-year-old than it is to see the difference in someone who's grown older. So I will say that there are some people that are trying to keep me stuck in a lower dimension because they want me back the way I was. But I'm not that anymore. I've grown out that. I'm not that anymore. So that's like telling a 2-year-old that, you know, or telling your 15-year-old, I want you to back to being 2 years old again, and that's how you're going to be. And that's not realistic because the 15-year-old's like, well, I'm not 2 anymore. I'm 15 now. So I'm telling you, I'm not going back to that because I'm not that anymore. I've outgrown it. And I am still continuing to grow. So as humans, and I want to say this, like this actually brings up another point, that there is a theory of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And this is going to be a huge topic. But within Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I found different subcategories. And the thing of it is, it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs is like a prescription for humanity, for humans to survive. Now, that's not taking into consideration that this is going to be hard for some people. It might be controversial, but I'm going to say it because it's my truth. So if you disagree with it, that is your right to believe and to feel and to choose what you choose. And it is my right to believe and to feel and to choose what I believe and to speak my truth. And to try to explain this in a way you might understand. Okay. Now let's remember what our friend, I believe it was Mark Twain, said, or it could be someone else arguably, that it's easier to fool people than to convince them that they've been fooled. And I will stand by that because that has been my reality. And it's something that has to wake up within us, that we have to see that something's wrong and to be able to start searching for another answer. The same reason that we lie to children and tell them about Santa Claus, that eventually they grow up and realize that you are lying to them, and that's hurtful and painful. And I would never do that. The same reason that you lie to your children about Santa Claus is the same thing that the government's doing to you, and the systems and the history and all that stuff that you've been told. It's all wrong. But I'm not going to be the one to tell you what to believe, and I'm not going to be the one to challenge or question those. I'm going to be the one to inspire you to think for your own self and to challenge and question your own beliefs and everything you've been taught. I'm not going to tell you what to believe or how to think. I'm going to show you how I was able to break out of those paradigms and to think for myself rather than what other people were telling me what to think. So I'm going to pose this, instead of telling you what is, I'm going to pose this as a what if. And that way, I'm giving you the freedom to choose to align with it or choose to not. And that way, you have the power within yourself, because I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm just going to pose questions and speculations and ideas. And then I'll share. When I share is from my own experience. I'm clear on what's my experience, and I'm clear on what's a theory. So it's important to be clear on what is our truth. So I think that our own personal experience and our own wisdom and truth is the highest form of knowledge. Not outside book knowledge, what we're taught, but what we know to be true from our own experience. And that's going to be the opposite of what we are taught. We are taught that, oh, what you think isn't important, what this doctor knows, what this scientist knows, what this has proven, what this fact shows. No, and I'm going to tell you that I'm going to object to all that, and I'm going to say the power is in you. And I'm going to say that only you have the authority over your own thoughts, your own reality, and your own wisdom. And that is our God-given right, is to be able to think for ourselves and to decide what is true for us and to question and challenge everything, even everything I say. Question it for yourself. Anyone that tells you what to think and how to think and forces you to think a certain way, that is a form of narcissistic abuse and control. And our whole government is based around narcissistic abuse and control, because they're not giving you the choice to think for yourselves. They're telling you what is what. And here I am telling you, even that, and even what I'm saying, question it. Question everything. Question it, what is true for me? Ask yourself that in yourself. So I'm going to pose that, okay, perhaps, potentially, what if we are animals? And what if we are humans and God? What if the whole idea of the animal kingdom, that there's different species within the animal kingdom, between reptiles and birds and tigers and lions and bears and all the different species of animals, the ones that walk the earth, the ones that swim in the sea, the ones that fly in the air, and all the different climates. And what if the same way that there are different species of animals within the animal kingdom, what if that was possible with us as well? But because we all look similar, we are all being classified under a category of human beings. But what if we're not all human beings? What if we all look similar? We all have the same form. We have 2 hands. We got fingers on both hands, most of us. 2 eyes. Some of us have 3 that you can't see. A mouth, a nose. We stand on 2 feet. We walk. What if we all look similar? But what if we are all different species? So some of us are more and similar to the way the animal kingdom is, but because we look similar and we all look so much alike in some ways that it's hard to tell that we're different species. So could that be possible? Could it be possible that we're not all human? Could it be possible that some of us are different species within the spectrum of Homo sapiens? So what if similar to the animal kingdom, what if some of us are reptiles? Some of us are cats or dogs or lions or tigers. Some of us are birds. Some of us are dolphins. Some of us are, fish or iguanas. Or what if some of us are aliens? What if some of us are angels embodied? What if some of us are ascended masters embodied? What if some of us are all from different planetary systems, but because we have the same earth suit, we're all prescribed the same categories of what is true for humans? But what if we're not all human? And if that's possible, let me just challenge you to contemplate that. So if we weren't all the same species, what would that mean? That would mean we would have all different needs. Because the need that a reptile or a snake has is different from the need of a bird or a cat or an earthworm or a lion or a mouse. We all have a little bit of different needs, which means we would have different diets. We would have different environments that we thrive in. We'd have different foods of choice. We'd have a different amount of need for sleep. We'd have a different lifestyle of where we either needed to have community and be like, some animals are social animals and need each other, but some animals want to be alone and roam and prowl on their own, and some animals want to like live closer to the water. They're water animals, right? And what if some animals are more earth animals? Some animals like the mountains better. Some animals like to be around other animals in busy, packed in areas, like a swarm of minnows. They all like to be close together. But then there's like the bears that prowl. So I'm just going to pose that out, and then I'm going to do a follow-up video on this, because if perhaps, now this is all theory, and I'm just bringing this to the light of consciousness to consider. So if perhaps we are all different animals, we are all different species, because we all look similar, it might be easy to mistake that we're all the same. But what if we are not? And what if knowing that could be a key to help us learn what's best for us? So whereas one animal species does better with having meat, whereas another one does better with having an only vegetarian diet or only fish, where one animal of the Homo sapiens species does better with living in nature or in a forest. Another one might prefer being in a hotel room or an apartment building or having a family house. And, so like, what if we're all right? What if, okay, this diet, this lifestyle, this, what if you're all correct? If it works for you, great. So what if knowing this information could help us to figure out what our own species is and how do we learn what is optimal to care for our own species? So I'll leave you with this. One of my greatest discoveries is discovering that I am not human, and that I can own the fact that I am not human. But I was born in a body, and I have this body temple to care for. And one of the greatest liberating, freeing, realizations that I've had was being able to own the fact that I am not human. But by being able to own the fact that I am not human is actually helped me to embrace my human form and humanity to even a greater degree. Because I don't align or match with anyone else, it helped me to find my own self. And by finding that has been the missing piece that I was forever trying to seek. So it's kind of like the story of the ugly duckling, if any of you resonate with that. So my whole life I was trying to fit in with all the other ducklings, and I was the ugliest of all the ducklings. And I never felt right. But then I went off on my own, and I'm still in the process of transforming to become a swan. But once I recognized, well, I'm not supposed to fit in. And you know what? That's okay. Then I was free from that need to fit in, and I transcended it. And now I feel even a deeper sense of love and connection to humanity, because I realize that I don't have to be like anyone else. I can be just myself, and I can love and accept everyone to be as they are. And this has been the one piece that has helped me. So I'm going to do, this was the second part. So I'm going to ask you, have you ever just felt like you don't fit in anywhere? Or you fit in with certain groups or areas better than others? Or you fit in with certain diets, lifestyles work better for you than others? Well, maybe that's because you're different from we're all different. Maybe that's because we are all different. And you know what? Maybe that's okay. What if? Just what if? That's all I'm saying. Just contemplate it. Ponder it. Don't say I'm right or wrong. Just question everything and ask yourself, So that was one of the biggest things that I was able to identify within myself that has actually helped me. And then once I realized that, I could find out, well, if I'm not human, then what am I? So I'll come back with a follow-up on that. And I will share, if any of you are interested, I'll share what I am, what I've discovered myself to be. And then the thing is that I think that we can also be both. The same way that a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, it can be a little bit of both until it completely transforms. So there's stages of our development. So I still haven't figured this all out yet. I don't have all the answers. And that's the best part of this, that this is all theory. A lot of it's my own experience, but I'm always questioning. I'm always growing. I'm teaching, but I'm always learning. And that's how we continue to evolve. So if you're interested in exploring more of these theories and then bringing that in to question your own and have your own experience and expressions and realities, and, then join me. I'll do some more follow-ups. I'm going to take a break right now and I'll follow up with more, because what I've discovered that is, if perhaps we are different species within the overlay of quote unquote humanity or Homo sapiens, then we could potentially have different needs. So knowing that there may be some core needs for all of us, but even those can be adaptable based on our environment and based on availability and what we are subjected to. So learning that has been really liberating for me, and I love to share more if those of you are interested. Like, subscribe, and I'm happy to keep doing this, because this is giving me hope to keep going, because I am in so deep. But doing this and being able to share this, knowing that I might be touching someone else's heart, is giving me the courage and the strength to keep going and to keep sustaining my life in the best way I can. So thank you so much. I love you all. Thank you for watching. Namaste.